morning, everyone. Welcome to Ottawa. Yay! We are here in person, and that is a first for many of us. My name is Julia. I am the CEO of the Canadian Partnership for Women and Children's Health, and it is my great pleasure to be here with you, wearing the oddest mask that I've discovered in the pandemic, so bear with me. This is an exciting moment for us. A lot of us have not come together in person before this. I think Brené Brown has coined this as the big awkward. And it certainly feels that way somewhat, to be together in rooms, to be seeing one another in close proximity. But I really hope that the last 2 years has had us reflect on what these kinds of moments bring for us. And that's what we're thinking about. We have attendees here from every single region of Canada. We've got a participant from Yellowknife. We have participants from St. John's to Longueuil to Montreal, Newmarket, St. Thomas to Regina, Sturgeon County to Victoria. What an amazing opportunity after so long of being so far apart. I'd like to also extend a warm welcome to those joining us virtually in our English and French webcasts of the summit. I think one thing we learned many things during the pandemic, was the opportunity that virtual creates to bring folks from further afield to make events like these accessible. And certainly we are trying to take that into account as we move forward into what we're now calling hybrid events. There's the great pivot, and now there's the great hybrid. So we also have a youth bursary program, and I would like, if you don't mind, for the youth bursary recipients to stand up. We have 25 incredibly impressive young people. Here from every region of Canada. I was speaking with them yesterday, and I invited them to help be our ambassadors. I actually attended an event, my first conference last week, the Amazing What Works Summit, which is a partner to this event as well. And I felt that, like, for the first time, that sort of event, I don't know anyone rejection, as I'm like walking around the room, and I didn't know anyone at the conference. And that feeling of just being on your own, and then everyone pulls out their phone and like pretends like they're busy on their phone. And I might've been doing a little bit of that. It's really hard. So I invited the youth participants. I invite all of you, if you see someone standing on their own, even if they're looking at their phone, they might not be as busy as they look, invite them into the conversation. Let's make this a conference where no one stands very long on their own, please. And certainly my team at CanWatch and the Equal Futures Network will be a partner with you in that. I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation, whose traditional and unceded territory is across this area. I've had the great privilege of spending time with Anishinaabe elders and learning from them, and I really do hope that everything we're doing at the summit is on honor to those teachings and also engages in a new way of partnership. A couple of years ago in 2019, we were at the Women Deliver conference, and it was at that moment, right before the launch of the Women Deliver conference, that the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women report was released. And I think the conference did take that into account and think through some of the implications, but 2 years on, 3 years on, what is the action that's been taken? And I really hope that this conference continues us down on the path of not only reconciliation, but true action towards those missing and murdered Indigenous women. So today's summit is a culmination of just over a year and a half of momentum. Believe it or not, it was only late fall of 2020 that we launched this thing called the Equal Futures Network. And we now have over 500 member organizations in the network. It was birthed from this idea as we hosted Women Deliver here in Canada, that the gender equality movement that works domestically, that works within Canada, needs to be connected to one another. And then also what would be the value, the incredible opportunity of connecting them to this much larger global feminist movement. And that's really our vision, is to create solidarity to create connections, to be a platform to learn from one another across not only provincial and territorial borders, but across international borders as well. And I think we're onto something because we've had this growing momentum and organizations joining us. And we're really thinking about how we can best serve you as individuals, as activists, because we are nothing more than our members. We don't have the bright ideas, don't come from within the Secretariat. They come from paying attention to what it is that you're doing and how you're doing it, and picturing and thinking about how we could create the connective tissue between you. So if you're curious about our network members, please check out the map that's online. And it has, what we're trying to do is create the sense of a map of Canada and actually the world, in which we have little dots of people working and acting. And if you want to go through and search, women's shelters or organizations that serve LGBTQI, you can put that in as a search criteria and see where those organizations are operating. So our mission is really to facilitate connections and strengthen bonds. And everyone in this room's mission is to advance gender equality, and that's an exciting space to be in. So here we are today. It's a demonstration of perseverance because, man, it was hard to pick a conference date when you can't predict things like Omicron and when it's going to hit and what the regulations are going to be. But here we are. And that's because of your belief, your steadfast commitment to the type of principles of coming together, to the type of principles of the work, and what this is all going to mean. So we have simultaneous interpretation in French and English. Please pick up a handset. Where? There, back there. Everything will be translated. If folks are speaking in English, it'll be in French, and vice versa. Please download the My Glue Up app on your smartphone, and that will allow you to connect with one another and also to see where things are. Did anybody get lost coming in today? Yeah, so did I. I actually felt like I was back in university again, getting lost on campus. It was a familiar feeling, even though I went to one of the smallest universities in Canada. The Wi-Fi password can also be found. It's posted all over the place, so please do connect. And for those of you who are keen to share, we always try to balance, share, and at the same time be present and pay attention. So you do you. Equal Futures 2022 is the tag. You can tag us at or hashtag. And sessions will be held here in the theater as well as in the conference room on the second floor. And you can find all those details in your My Glue Up app, and we will try to speak to them as they come, as different details come up. We have an amazing reception that I'm very excited about tonight. We've got the amazing Canadian author, Farzana Doctor, as well as Joanna Griffith, the founder and CEO of Nix. And we've been trying to get both of those folks engaged in our work for some time, and I'm so excited that they've agreed to be here with us tonight. And finally, you'll notice a lot of cameras all over the place. We are joined here by CPAC. So they're recording the summit. CPAC they record the House of Commons and things like that, and they're going to be running this all summer. And we're so excited about that because we do believe that gives us the opportunity to spread the word about what's happening here. And we're also supported by a series of summit partners. I'm almost to the good part where I introduce the minister, and I'm more excited about that than anything else. But I do want to thank What Works and the Social Progress Index, one of our partners, as well as Future of Good, which has generously offered discounted access to all the attendees here to their Women's Economic Resilience Summit. And a small story about what the movement looks like. We planned our conferences on top of each other. And I got an apology note from the head of Future of Good saying, oh my goodness, we planned this conference at the same time, and how are we going to do this? And my reaction was, oh, that's too bad. And you know what? The movement needs a lot of these moments. And so you support us, we'll support you, and we'll just try to get everyone everywhere. And man, is it great to have a partner who's behind that. So thanks to Future of Good for both the work that they're doing. As well, we have Lizbeth Media, so a partner who's been incredibly supportive of trying to get the story of what we're doing here and what you are doing here out there. So now to the keynote speaker. It is my special pleasure to introduce the Honourable Marci Ian, Minister of Women and Gender Equality. Women and Gender Equality Canada has been an amazing partner to us. And I was just raving to them about them. And they have both financially supported this work, as well as really been supportive partners in dreaming with and alongside the Equal Futures Network about what this thing can be. So a big thank you to all of our colleagues at the department. Minister Ian is a familiar face to many of you, as she was an award-winning journalist and broadcaster with a long career of 3 decades in journalism before she moved into politics. She's a devoted community leader and a passionate advocate for vulnerable communities in Canada and around the world. She's traveled internationally with Journalists for Human Rights and World Vision. She's worked as a mentor with underprivileged youth and through Trust 15, an after-school program based in Toronto, as well as the Losh, Saskatchewan. Following the shooting at Adene High School in 2016, we just heard a little bit of that story and it gave me goosebumps. She's also supported students from these communities by co-founding a scholarship program in the School of Media at the Toronto Metropolitan University, where she is an alma mater, a graduate, and she later returned to the university as a distinguished visiting professor. She released her first book, which I encourage everyone to grab, Off Script, Living Out Loud, where she shares personal milestones, tales of resilience and kindness, which is certainly how I would know her as a partner. And she has served as a member of Parliament for Toronto since 2020. I'm really looking forward to continuing to see you grow in the role of politician. When I first met her, I said, I think she's way too authentic and genuine to be a politician. But this is the type of people we need in these roles. So I welcome you, Minister, to the stage.
Julia, thank you so much. Way too authentic, huh? Thank you so much. You are a trailblazer in your own right. Thank you to you and your team and bringing this incredible group together. It takes a lot of work to do that, and so appreciate you. And this is a very, very special time. It really is today. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So good to see you all together like this. Julia acknowledged before, but I too want to acknowledge that this event is taking place on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin and the Anishinaabe people. And I'm also recognizing that many of you are tuning in from various traditional territories right across this country. So yes, my name is Marci Ian, and I'm the Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Youth. And what an honor to be kicking off Equal Futures' first ever Gender Equality Summit. That's awesome. This was awesome. This was an invitation that we weren't going to refuse, that is for sure. So I am the daughter of Trinidadian immigrants, and my parents taught my sister and me to work really, really hard, to move through life with empathy and with understanding, and above all, to really believe that we could walk into any room with confidence, that our voices mattered, and that we were just as important as everyone else, that we were equal. But I have to tell you, it didn't always feel that way. In my former journalism career, I didn't have many mentors, and certainly not a lot of people that looked like me. I was an only a lot of the time. But I decided to be what I didn't have, and mentor as many young journalists, young people as I could, offering advice and often telling them to be fearless. I would say to them, do the things I didn't do. And when I look back and I think about why I didn't always speak up and why I didn't always speak out earlier in my career, I think about my dad, and I could hear his voice saying, just do your job well. It's about the work ethic. He'd also mentioned pension. No need to rock the boat, Mars. No need to do that. He loved me. He loves me. And he didn't want me to jeopardize a national news position that I had worked so hard to get. But the fact of the matter is that the boat definitely needed to be rocked and still does. Now is not the time for passivity. Now is not the time to be quiet. We need to stand up for ourselves. We need to stand up for each other. Allyship, true allyship matters. That's what collective action is. I often say that my almost 18-year-old daughter, I don't know where the time flies, but Blaze is almost 18. Her prom is this Thursday. She graduates at the end of the month. I'm freaking out a little bit because I don't know where the time's gone. But she is my wisest advisor. It was Blaze's comment, if not you, Mama, then who? That tipped the scales when I was weighing the idea of running. 2 elections inside of 11 months. A by-election, then a general election. And on November 25th, 2021, I was sworn in as Canada's Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Youth. But here's the thing, there's no taking this position lightly, not at all. What a privilege, but also what a responsibility to bring my lived experiences to the cabinet table, to bring the experiences of child, immigrant parents, born in St. Jamestown, a community I now represent in Toronto Centre, raised in Scarborough, Ontario. All of those experiences to the cabinet table, to lead on important policies and initiatives that create a more equal and fair Canada. So some examples for you. Diversifying the Canada Service Corps, supporting youth employment through Canada Summer Jobs, more than 100,000 jobs so far across this country from coast to coast to coast for young people to get first-time job experience, which is huge. The work to create an equal and fair Canada requires all of us to work together, and we can't do that without the support of organizations and experts and advocates like you. Each of you plays an important role in moving women and gender equality forward. I have to tell you, I continue to be absolutely amazed by the work that has been accomplished by organizations across this country, many of you in attendance today. And while I regularly meet in person more and more, but on screen a lot, with groups in smaller settings, it's rare that I'm in a forum like this one where organizations are all together at once. I'm so grateful to Equal Futures for bringing us all together over the next couple of days. There are many strong allies in the room doing great work on the ground, such as Possibility Seeds, Courage to Act Project, which engaged more than 4,000 people and brought together experts and student teachers from across the country. With wage funding, this organization developed a knowledge center and toolkits as well to address and prevent gender-based violence at post-secondary institutions. Critical work. Word of these resources has spread to not only post-secondary institutions across North America, but countries and continents such as Europe and Southeast Asia, and now exploring how to prevent gender-based violence on their own campuses. Just yesterday, I had the honor of meeting with the delegation, including the President Boric, Foreign Minister of Chile. We signed an MOU that was based on gender equality, our two countries standing together with regards to gender equality, Indigenous issues, LGBTQ2S issues Our countries will be working together. That was signed yesterday. We have a lot in common. A lot in common. I also think about women building futures, an organization that helps increase the participation of women in trades and technical professions across Western Canada. Done a bit of research in that field, women in STEM, just as a reporter. And it's so interesting to look at when young girls kind of drop off, school-aged girls, when they stop being interested in science and start thinking about other things. And it usually happens around grade 4, grade 5, 9, 10 years old. There's a split where boys go one way towards STEM and girls go the other. There is much to be done in that field. In the short time that their project was running, the organization saw more than 8,000 women reach out for information as well as advice on entering a career in construction. Almost 4,000 women were trained, more than 170 employers signed on to hire graduates. That's action, real action. Since 2015, we've funded more than 1,100 projects, providing almost $500 million to ensure that everyone has the resources to participate as active members of Canadian society. Possibility Seeds, Women Building Futures are just 2 examples of the incredible results, tangible results we can achieve when we work together, when we come together like we are right now. We remain a proud and steadfast partner on this front. We will not stop. I also want to take just a quick moment to highlight some of the work my department is undertaking to complement your efforts, because we are in this together. We're working alongside provinces and territories to develop a 10-year national action plan to end gender-based violence. And we were well supported by Budget 2022, proposes to invest more than $500 million for this key initiative. This past April, we committed $25 million to establish a pilot project for menstrual equity. It's a menstrual equity fund. Our parliamentary secretary, Jenna Suds, who will close out this conference, you'll hear from the amazing Jenna in the next day or so. She's leading this. This is her initiative. The fund will make period products available to women, trans, and non-binary people in need right across our country. Right across our country. And it's going to raise awareness to reduce the stigma, because there's a lot of stigma and shame around menstruation. Additionally, we're working towards the release and implementation, as I mentioned, not just of the National Action Plan to end gender-based violence, but the first ever federal LGBTQ2 action plan. So 2 action plans under our purview. It is being informed by the communities, advocates, grassroots organizations. Want to hear and have been hearing from all of them, because we want to get this right. It's being informed by them and their lived experiences. And just this May, we launched a call for proposals to fund organizations that advance equality for LGBTQ2 people. And I encourage all interested groups to apply. In addition to initiatives that tackle inequalities and barriers to inclusion, we've also reiterated our commitment to put an intersectional lens in every single thing we do. I don't see things any other way. I'll just tell you that right now. Everything has an intersectional lens, because frankly, that's part of my lived experience. It is my lived experience. Gender-based analysis plus helps us do that. And we've done a lot of work, but we've got a lot more to do. GBA Plus has become more intersectional in its design and application. It needed to be. It guides analysis that goes beyond biological, so sex and sociocultural gender differences, and considers other factors such as age and disability and education and ethnicity and economic status, geography, rural versus urban, language, race, religion, and sexual orientation. That is what GBA Plus is. Over the next 2 days, I very much look forward to hearing about your perspectives, your lived experiences, your unique challenges, but most importantly, I want to hear your innovative ideas on ways that we can advance gender equality in Canada and around the world. This year's theme is collaboration, collective action, and community. And that is exactly what this room represents. I firmly believe that in this room today, real change will happen because you're change makers. That's what you do. The work you do on the ground is invaluable. My advice to you now and always is rock the boat. Have a wonderful summit. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. What inspirational words to get us started with. So, what are we doing now? We are going to take everything that we heard about intersectionality, about our need to rock the boat, and we are going to dig in through a couple different ways of learning. I think what we wanted to do at the summit was provide you an opportunity to get the most with doing as little talking at you as possible. So we wanted to try to come up with an engaging format, give you long breaks in which no one will be standing alone that doesn't want to stand alone, and in which people will be drinking coffee and breaking bread together, which I think is something we've all missed. But also we wanted to highlight the work that you're undertaking as much as possible. So the morning, we're going to take a break now and have some coffee and refreshments in the atrium at 10 a.m. sharp, and we will have folks going and sort of asking you to go to your places, but please keep an eye on time as well. We'll start with activities both in the theater and in the conference room. So if you stay here in the theater, you're going to experiment with us with a particular format, which is quick hits of knowledge spotlights. People have worked hard and prepared this, so I really encourage you to, at some point in the conference, come to the knowledge spotlights and sort of see what they're all about, and we'll see if we like the format. You can tell us if you like the format, but quick hits of what are people doing, what do they have to share, sort of TED Talk style. And that will be followed by a panel discussion, Advancing Gender Equality in Canadian Politics, which I think is a subject that you touched on, Minister, and I think is absolutely critical. I was sharing with some colleagues from Iceland our stats on women in politics here in Canada, and they were very discouraged and shocked, in fact, that Canadian politics are so poor at engaging women and having women at all levels of government. So thank you for your work in changing that narrative and changing that story. And we're going to have that conversation here in this room. Meanwhile, in the conference room, which I'm pointing this way, Charmaine. Oh, yeah, no, that way. Okay, that's why I'm checking in. So which is that way. I also, like I told you, got lost trying to get here. So which is that way. We'll have breakfast culture present our first workshop. So this is a deep dive. So if you're in this room, you're getting a deep dive on a lot of different things. If you're in the other room, you have a longer period of time. Power and privilege, exploring reconciliation, diversity, equality, and inclusion. So that's happening in the other room. So hopefully we'll split up about half and half. And again, you'll have opportunities throughout the conference to try these different formats. At 12 noon, you'll be released from the space that you're in for some boxed lunches and refreshments that will be found in the atrium. Find a seat in the conference room or the theater. This says or outside if it's nice, but I'm thinking that people probably won't be outside in the torrential downpour that is right now. And then I'll be back here after lunch. So in the morning, you have your choice of where to go. You'll have a break, then you'll grab lunch, and then you're everyone back here for 1 o'clock after lunch. Any questions? Excellent. Okay, go take your break and then head to your session.